Do you love to travel and save money? Or do you wish you could travel but money is holding you back? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Family's Flyfree podcast, where I show you how to fly your family free forever using my simple fly-free formula. I'm your host, Lynn Mettler. My family of four has mastered the art of flying free as simply as possible since 2015, and I want to show your family how to do it too. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Family's Fly Free podcast. We are heading into fall over here with football in full swing, college football at least. We've had a couple of cooler days where it feels like fall. Have had now a couple more hot days. I keep hoping this will be the last round. We'll see. And of course, school has been in session for us, at least for a couple of weeks already. And I always find myself wanting to travel right now. I do love fall in Indiana, but I also love fall elsewhere as well. Things like Halloween at Disney, which amazingly already started in August, or even the golden aspens in Colorado, which are so beautiful, are just sounding lovely right now. But for us, fall is a super busy time with a high school football player, which means we pretty much can't travel throughout the whole fall season. So we probably aren't going to get to enjoy these fall travels for a few more years at least. So this week, I'm going to narrow in on the topic of Southwest elite status. A lot of people ask me about holding elite status on Southwest Airlines and if that's something they should try and achieve. So we are going to discuss that today. And I'm going to share what this elite status really gets you on Southwest, what it takes to achieve it, and then if I recommend it. So let's start with what Southwest elite status really is and what it gets you. There are 3 tiers of Southwest elite status. There is A-List, A-List Preferred, and Companion Pass. And yes, Companion Pass is actually an elite status on Southwest Airlines, but we've talked enough about Companion Pass on this podcast, so today we're going to focus on the other 2 types of elite status because they really are the more traditional status we think of when it comes to airlines. The highest status on Southwest is A-List Preferred. When you have A-List Preferred status, in my opinion, the best perk is earlier boarding. So you get checked in after the business select people. And if you remember a couple of podcasts ago where I interviewed Corinne Crabtree, she talked about how she always books business select fares so she can get the A1 boarding order. That's kind of her status symbol. She loves to be A1, the first person on the plane. And you get that. Your chances of getting that are the only way to get it would be to be a business select customer. So that's because business select fares get the A1 through 15 boarding orders. And if they don't sell all of those fares, then they sell off those boarding orders as an upgrade for $40 to $50 per person per flight. So with A-List Preferred, you are likely to get A16 or somewhere around there because you get checked in immediately after the business select fare people. Southwest gave me a promotional A-List Preferred status this year. I still don't know why I was selected, but they do give promotional status sometimes. I think it's to encourage you to go for it in a future year. And I have gotten A-List promotional status in years past, and I did have some members who also got A-List Preferred promotionally like me this year. So I have no idea really what the criteria is behind the scenes for who they give that to, but nevertheless, I have been lucky enough to have it this year. And by having that, I have gotten A16 for every single flight I have taken since I've had that status. So that pretty much tells me I'm the only A-List Preferred person on the flights that we have been taking. So that's the big perk, in my opinion, is that earlier boarding order. Now, you also get a dedicated check-in lane at the Southwest counter where you're checking bags. So this can come in handy if you're checking a bag, especially as we see travel continue to ramp up as demand still is surging post-COVID. However, if you don't usually check a bag on Southwest, and these days we try not to, and we've been successful at that in most cases. So if you're not checking a bag, this perk does nothing for you. And most of the time, having a separate lane is really not very beneficial because the lines aren't usually too long. Now, there have been some unique cases where they have been really long. And the only one I really have seen, though, was in March of 2022 in Orlando when I was flying out of Orlando back to Indianapolis. And there was an hours long line to check a bag at Southwest. So that's one time where that would have come in really handy. But I was able to finagle that and figure out a way to get my bag checked quickly and get on the plane. So, the next perk you get with A-List Preferred is free Wi-Fi. Now, this is a savings of a whopping $8 per flight, so nothing huge. And if you have the Southwest Business Performance Card, you already get free Wi-Fi with that card. You simply use the card to pay for it, and then that charge is erased, or they credit you back. You never have to pay them for it. So that's a way to secure that benefit of free Wi-Fi without even having elite status. And Southwest is working, as we record this podcast in September 2023, they are working to upgrade their Wi-Fi. But I have found the Wi-Fi to be so inconsistent on a Southwest flight that I usually skip it these days in exchange for reading a book or watching something I've downloaded to my iPad, because any work that I try to do that requires internet is so slow most of the time that I know I could get that same amount of work done in probably 15 minutes versus trying to do it on, a 2-hour or 3-hour flight on Southwest with their Wi-Fi. So I usually just skip it. So that's not a huge perk to me anyway. The other perks include a dedicated phone line. Though inside of Families Flyfree, we have a Southwest number that we share that our members love, that gets them most of the time really fast service. And even Families Flyfree members who hold A-List Elite status say it's quicker and better than the A-List number. And I haven't even tried the A-List number myself because I know this number we have already works really good. So I always just default to that because I just have it saved as a favorite in my phone. Other perks, you get same-day standby, which means you can add yourself to a list to get on an earlier flight the same day you are scheduled to fly. But they recently added this option for all fare classes, even want to get away fares. So that's not a huge benefit. They do say as an A-List preferred and A-List member, you get higher priority over the other fare types or people that don't have elite status, but still they have that option too. And lastly, you can earn double the points per dollar for flights that you purchase on Southwest. But we are never recommending that you purchase Southwest flights in dollars. So if you're following our system, this is no benefit to you at all. Earning more points, not helpful. Now, the other elite status is just A-List without the preferred, just plain old A-List, which is a step down. And basically, you get all of the same things I've already listed out, except you don't get free Wi-Fi. And instead of getting double the points when you pay for a flight, you only get 25% more points on paid cash flights. Neither of these are important, in my opinion. So you still get priority boarding, which is the big one, I think. So you'd be checked in after the A-List preferred people. So you might, depends on how many A-List preferred people there are. But again, I seem to be the only one, so I'm guessing you'd end up A16, A17. So it seems like of the two, you might as well go for the lower one. We'll talk about how you get it. It's easier to get, and I don't really think you lose anything significantly there. Now, I will say in terms of the boarding order, that is a really nice perk. Having this A-list preferred promotional status this year, I have really, really enjoyed getting automatic A16 and not having to remember to check in right at the 24-hour mark. But there are some ways around this, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. But to me, that's been the best benefit. So let's talk about what's required to actually earn these elite statuses on Southwest. And I really think that these are very difficult to earn. Earning the companion pass is actually much, much easier than trying to score A-list or A-list preferred. So you have just two ways really to earn elite status on Southwest. The first one is by paying for flights. If you're trying to fly your family for free, though, this option makes no sense because someone is not flying for free. Someone is paying for flights, which is what our whole point is to teach you how to never do that. So the only way this option works, in my opinion, is if you fly for business and your company is paying for the fare. So if that's the case, sure, go for elite status, let your business pay for it, and stack up those flights and see if you can get there. You have to get them all within one calendar year. The second way to earn the elite status is to earn 35,000 tier qualifying points for A-list or 70,000 tier qualifying points for A-list preferred. Now, how do you earn these tier qualifying points? It's, again, either by paying for flights, same issue as the first one where we're trying to not spend money on flights, or by exorbitant spending on your Southwest cards. So what do I mean by exorbitant? Well, you earn 1,500 tier qualifying points for every $10,000 in purchases you make with your Southwest card. So that would be a spend of $233,000 in one calendar year for A-list or $460,000 for A-list preferred. That is insane. And even if you were able to spend that amount, here at Families Fly Free, we would never recommend that you put that level of spend on a Southwest card. Never. Why is that? It's because you will likely only earn one Southwest point per dollar for the majority of spending that you do, and you will only earn a point that's good on Southwest. And you don't even need that many Southwest points in a year following my system. You will spend a lot less even to fly your whole family 6 times a year for free. You don't need 230 to 460,000 points every single year, or even every 2 years. Instead, we recommend that you would put that spend, whether you're meeting that level of spend or not, any spend that you're doing, on a flexible travel card that will earn more than 1 point per dollar on many, if not all, categories of spending. And that gives you a flexible point that can be used in a variety of ways for travel. So, as I mentioned, you would not need that many Southwest points following our system. So if they're all in Southwest, that's a waste because you don't need them over there. You could instead be using those points. And remember, you'd earn even more points than that on a flexible card because you're going to earn more than 1 point per dollar, again, and if not all, more categories of spending than you would on the Southwest card. So you could instead be using these additional points and all those points toward other travel expenses, like flights on other airlines, free hotel or vacation rental stays, free Disney or Universal Park tickets, free car rentals, the list goes on. So I think you know the answer to the question, what my answer is going to be. Should you go for Southwest Elite status? My answer is no. Here's why. Let's sum it up. Number 1, it's way too hard to get. Number 2, it forces you to earn points in only one system, and it causes you to earn way more points than you need at that. You could be using those points elsewhere. 3, because it has little to no benefit even. In my opinion, the only real benefit here is the early boarding. And that is very nice. I will own up to that. I have loved it. But if that's important to you, you can instead do this. You can purchase early bird for every single flight, which checks you in ahead of everyone else at the 36-hour mark. And or you can upgrade your boarding order on top to A1 through 15 if that's available. That usually pops up for you after you check in, if that is available to you. And even if you spend this extra amount on early bird and upgraded boarding order, you are still going to spend way, way less doing this than you ever would trying to qualify for Southwest Elite status. And if you get early bird, that automatically checks you in. If your issue is like mine, where I hate trying to remember to check in at the 24-hour mark, it just does it automatically for you. So that's a solution to that issue. And remember, you also get several free early birds and upgraded boarding orders with select Southwest cards. So you can cover some of those with the credits on those cards. And your other option there is you could spend more Southwest points and book yourself a business select ticket, because you can book that in points as well. You don't have to pay for that in cash. And if you book a business select fare, you can add your companion for free, and that's going to guarantee both of you an A1 through 15 boarding order. So that's another way around it. One last thing I wanted to add here is we had a member submit a question recently asking for our analysis and recommendation on an email that she'd gotten from Southwest, which was offering to upgrade her to elite status if she wanted to pay the rest of the way there. Like, she'd earned a certain number of points toward elite status, and they were offering for her to just basically buy the remaining qualifying points that she needed. But the cost here was outrageous. It was over $1,000. And I got the same email at the end of last year for me to pay to upgrade myself to elite status, to get myself the rest of the way there. And remember, they ended up giving me promotional at the beginning of this year. Weird. But again, you would do so much better spending so much less to literally just pay for early bird and upgraded boarding order as much as you can get it. Even if you did that for 6 flights a year for everyone in your family, you still wouldn't spend anywhere near $1,000 to do that. So the answer to that is also a no. That's not a good deal. And that's a great example of the type of thing that you can send to us as a Families Fly Free member and get a quick, honest, accurate answer of what we think is the best course of action for you. So I hope the question of Southwest Elite status is settled for you. Skip it. You're welcome. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your week. If you're ready to fly your family free forever, I invite you to join my Families Fly Free membership. You'll learn how to stop paying for airfare throughout the US, Caribbean, and Europe so you can make those priceless family travel memories before your kids or even your grandkids leave home for good. And you'll learn it using my simple, proven formula that's helped hundreds of families. Plus, it's risk-free. You either get your investment in the membership back in free travel, or I give you your money back. You can get more information at familiesflyfree.com/join.